Hey YTPC, Sergeant Savinelli. Bit of a rough weekend. As some of you are already aware, my wife and I were invited to attend the private funeral of our dear departed brother John Harden, Matches860. So we took the drive out to Newburyport, Massachusetts, where we took part in a very small, very private funeral service, wake and funeral service. I got to meet some of John's family. We got to talk to one of John's brothers. The love and respect and just sheer heartfelt feelings in that room were incredible. Absolutely, I have no words. So John being born and raised in Natick, which was a little bit of a distance from Newburyport. Newburyport's about half hour north of Boston. Nice area. Come to find out, that's where John's wife Jean was from and where they got married. So it was very fitting that that was going to be his final resting place. I was also given the honor of being able to speak at his wake service in the funeral home. And as promised, I carried the condolences, the sympathy, and the respect of all 14,000 of us in the YTPC. And I conveyed that to his family. Made sure they understood just how important and how special John was to us. His influence. Looking around, I can understand why the family chose to keep it a small private service. That was John. John was a very private man. I know, hard to imagine that the godfather of the YTPC was, a quiet, private kind of a guy. Funny guy. Lovable guy, obviously. But John didn't like big crowds. And even though he was what he was to all of us, his private life was entirely different. So the private service was befitting of the Godfather. It was easy to find the words. It was hard to deliver them. There is some closure now, as with all funerals. The memories will live on forever. He was laid to rest with his Friday Savinelli and a pouch of Haunted Bookshop and some other very special items. And he was laid to rest in a place called Oak Hill Cemetery, right there in Newburyport, which I thought was also very fitting. If you've ever seen John's cemetery videos, this was one just like that. Something that you would expect to see him sitting, having a pipe. Very serene, very quiet place. And there's a main road that goes right past the cemetery, but didn't seem like there was an awful lot of cars. Could have been because it was a Saturday. I will visit that place again. It's just shy of a 3-hour drive. Easy to find, easy to get to. And I know exactly where he is. So there will come a time when I and a few friends will probably make the pilgrimage up there. Brad, Pipes and Kayaks, Mark in Rhode Island, Pipe Rider, maybe Joe Greenfield. Those of us that live here nearby that don't mind the 3-hour drive. We've already talked about it. I think a little bit of time needs to pass before we can actually go ahead and do that. The weather certainly needs to get better. Ironic that the temperature from the funeral home to the cemetery, which is a very short drive, 5 minutes, dropped about 10 degrees. And we stood out there in cold, windy weather. I think that was John's final revenge on me. I was glad to do it. I was very honored to do it, to be able to be there for the final send-off. And now it's done. And now we keep the memories alive, and we share, and we heal. And there it is. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.